Folks, we have two wonderful keynotes followed by a panel, and then we'll break for lunch. So I love that you're all talking. We'll give you plenty of time to do that again shortly. But first, we're going to start with a keynote address by Rajesh Anandan. He is the co-founder and CEO of Ultranauts, an award-winning quality engineering firm with employees in 30 states, 75% of whom are on the autism spectrum. It's been named, his company Ultranauts has been named a Fast Company World-Changing Idea, MIT Solve Challenge winner, and Interbrand Breakthrough Brand. He began his career at Microsoft and worked at Bain & Company and launched UNICEF Ventures and lectures at MIT. His topic for today is Neurodiversity, the New Digital Advantage. Please welcome Rajesh.
It's good to see you. Okay, so we're going to talk about neurodiversity, but maybe let's start with diversity. How would you complete the following sentence? Diversity is essential, important.
Shout them out, folks. What do we have?
Don't be shy.
Complex.
Complex.
Collaborative.
Collaborative. So, game-changing. So for me, growing up as a kid, diversity was about ethnicity. I grew up in Sri Lanka in the middle of a civil war between two ethnicities. And it just so happened that my parents were from those two ethnicities. So in the south of the island, I had the wrong name. Wasn't really great as a young boy to walk around with my ID, because if the police stopped me and I had a Tamil name, that would not have been good. People disappeared. In the north of the country, I spoke the wrong language. And so I wouldn't survive there much longer. And bad stuff happened. The war is over. Didn't end well. Lots of human rights abuse. But the country's kind of crumbling along. But I was lucky enough to leave to finish my education. I ended up at MIT, just across the river. And this is a picture of my pledge class at the fraternity I joined. Now, if you're thinking MIT fraternity sounds like an oxymoron, it is. What happens when a bunch of geeks get together and try to be cool? Not much. Another oxymoron is MIT athletics. We're not very, and this is 20, 30 years ago, so we weren't very good at most sports. But we tried hard. We trained just as hard as any intercollegiate team. Growing up in Sri Lanka, I played rugby, I swam, I ran track. And at MIT, I discovered a new sport, crew. That's one of the MIT boathouses, the River Charles. That's March. And if you're not from Boston, the Charles still has ice in March. And winter training, is mostly dry. But by February, March, you start putting the boats in the water. It's not fun for a Sri Lankan, arguably for anyone. Now, MIT lightweight crew, the lightweight boat I rowed on, we had like the Sri Lankan track person, the Filipino cyclist, the Mexican soccer player. Nobody had rowed before. Now, in most other universities, rowing is a storied sport. Like, it's a pedigreed sport. You do it in high school and, kind of are groomed for crew. Not so much the MIT crew team. Now, we trained hard, and that first season, the first few races we might have raced Northeastern, not sure. Rutgers, a few other universities. We did pretty well, actually. Then it was like the big race. The first real race was with Yale. And race day comes, we were at home. The Yale crew comes out with their boat. It's like everyone was 5'11" and exactly 160 pounds. They looked like clones. You kind of march down and you drop the boat, and they did their cheer, Y-A-L-E, Yale. We're like, okay. So then we come, the boat's kind of like this, because we had a very long, very tall high jumper at the back and the short person. And then we drop our boat in, and we did our cheer. Does anyone know the MIT cheer? Okay. It will strike fear into your hearts. It goes like this. E to the U dx dx. E to the x dx. Cosine, secant, tangent, sine. 3.14159. Integral, radical, mu dv. Disintegrate them, MIT. Yeah, everyone was really, we lost the race. But if there were gale force winds, or those boats broke down, we had an architect, we had a mechanical engineer, we had a couple of computers. We would have won that race. Now, it just so happens business today is not like a crew race. It's not all about disciplined execution according to the same plan. We're operating in complex environments that are constantly changing. And in this kind of climate, we need a new kind of capability. All right, next question for you. Complete this sentence. Neurodiversity is? Inevitable. So neurodiversity is a fairly recent term. It was coined in the 90s by sociologist Judy Singer. And it was a way to reframe the idea of different brain types from disorders and disabilities into just a difference, just naturally occurring variations in the human brain. And neurodiversity means that humans have different brain types, just like humans have different body types. And so if we think about some of those different neurotypes, 4 million Americans, or 2% of the population, are autistic, 4% are ADHDers, 15% are dyslexic. About a quarter of the population is neurodivergent. And that means most of your teams have neurodivergent teammates. And if you're in any kind of data or engineering or science field, you probably over-index. And neurodiversity is a key element of a broader concept of cognitive diversity, which you've probably heard about, and which there's plenty of evidence that points to cognitively diverse teams perform better. And no surprise, if you have different approaches, different problem-solving styles, different ways of perceiving information in systems, you're going to do better. But at the same time, there's very little evidence or models or kind of examples to follow in terms of how do you do that? How do you build this capability around building and harnessing cognitive diversity and neurodiversity? So about a decade ago, my co-founder and I started Ultranauts with a mission to demonstrate that neurodiversity could be a competitive advantage when you're solving complex business challenges. And our theory of change is very simple. Step one, got to build a business that can deliver better value for the clients we work with. And that's what we've been doing for 10 years. Step two is take everything we've learned about building neurodiverse teams, high-performing teams, and share that with others. And so we're just getting to step two, which is why partly I'm excited to share this with you. And so today we have teammates in 30 states at Ultranauts. We're all onshore in North America and a Canadian province. Can't forget that. 3/4 of our team is neurodivergent. The majority of our teammates are autistic. We have many teammates who are ADHDers, dyslexic, dyspraxic. We have a lot of different brain types. And that's by design, because we do fundamentally believe that by bringing together different neurotypes and forming collaborative teams, we're going to be able to do better at the work we do. And the work we do is data and software quality management systems and quality engineering as a professional services firm. And we work with a range of mostly large enterprise clients, but also some fast-growing startups as well. And we're brought in to solve kind of persistent, annoying, painful, sticky, urgent data quality-related issues. Diagnose the issue, get to root cause, design better systems, make it go away. Whether that's at Goldman Sachs or Disney or Pepsi, it's usually the same sort of challenges where, Shravan mentioned this on the last panel. Data quality is a problem that nobody really, it's not sexy. It does get in the way, though, because most companies have discovered, and sitting in your seats, you already know this, there's a ton of data, but it's tar pits. It's not accessible, you can't trust it. Data quality can be a real impediment in any kind of digital transformation or AI or ML kind of effort. Most data scientists are spending most of their time being data janitors, cleaning the mess. And so in this kind of context, there's an explosion of tools. The data tech stack is unbundled. It's really hard to make sense of it. And so we are not coming in with another tool. We're just coming in with great humans with specialized skills and a whole bunch of tools and accelerators that allow us to solve these kind of persistent problems. And so, we have data quality engineers, not data engineers, because there's different roles, data quality analysts, not business analysts. And so we've developed this discipline, because data ops is probably 2 decades behind DevOps. And it's still maturing, and so a lot of these methods and systems are still forming. And we're helping kind of formalize some of those techniques on how do you design quality in to your processes and systems using the tools that exist today. And we have accelerators and tools, but we don't sell software, because the big problem is tools don't know fit for purpose. They know fit for use, the kind of standard dimensions of the DQ, accuracy, completeness, blah, blah, blah. But is that what good means to the marketing analytics team? No, of course not. Is that what good means to the data science team, the compliance team? And so that's the gap we try to solve, and we try to do that quickly. And we try to do it in the space of weeks and sprints, not months. And so that's what Ultranaut does. And the sort of impact we've been able to have has been striking to most of the CDOs or heads of governance or heads of architecture that are bringing us in, because they've been struggling with these issues, and they've been persistent. And so, a media streaming company couldn't trust their MMM model. They were re-platforming, and the marketing analytics team and the data science team were throwing up their hands going, look, we really need to figure out why this is going wrong. And so we came in and helped them do that. Or at a leading insurer, this was the data janitor, data scientist problem. Their data scientists were ingesting a ton of third-party data. They were spending all their time implementing quality controls, not deploying models. And so again, we were able to come in and design a data quality management system and controls that were more precise, that actually understood fit for purpose, and freed up those internal teams to actually do the things they wanted to do. And so as a company, we've been growing fast. I should say it's a little bit misleading, 40% CAGR over 3 years, except this year, like most other organizations, we didn't keep growing. But really consistently over a decade, the business has been growing because we're adding value. And in spite of being remote native, we're across 30 states, everybody works from home, and being so incredibly diverse in terms of different brain types, and different in many other ways. We have more females than males, including on the leadership team. 1/5 of our managers are Black, higher proportion than at the entry level. 1/4 of our top performing engineers don't have a university degree. However you look at this, we're a bunch of different humans. And at the same time, we've built a workplace and work systems that actually work for everyone. And so because of that, on any given week, and we poll our teams on things like social isolation, loneliness, Ultranauts are 3 to 4 times less lonely than most organizations. And so the way we did that is not by solving for one group or another. Because what does it mean to say someone is autistic, therefore we should accommodate this person in a certain way? Or someone is female, or someone is Black. These things don't tell you what a human actually needs to do their best work, and what's preventing you from doing that. And in order to do that, you've got to redesign the whole system. And we call that a universal workplace. And to get there, while we started out very simply trying to level the playing field around hiring for autistic talent, we moved into thinking about neurodiversity and neuroinclusion in the workplace. And from there, we got to what we think is the point of arrival for a lot of these inclusion and diversity initiatives, which is universal design. How do you redesign your systems, redesign your talent processes, whether it's recruiting or learning and development? Like, are your learning and development paths actually designed for different learners? Of course not, but they should be, right? Or is your promotion process objective and fair and transparent? No, but it should be. And so over a decade, we had to figure this stuff out. And at the team level, at the level of the day-to-day work experience, we actually had to invent a new set of tools to help these very different teams collaborate, communicate. And we've now taken all those tools and packaged it up into a thing we call Team X that we're starting to share with others. And so if you care about data quality or team inclusion, come find us. We're at a very homemade table just outside over there. My colleague Liz is here with me as well. And hope you have a great day, and we'll be here all day.